Good evening. Hello, Kevin back again with a chapter and an interesting story about a young chap, Dr. Andrew Manson. The chapter called The Birth. This is a story about beliefs. This is a story about the protagonist going ahead and using his intellect, not just the bookish knowledge, but the intellect as well in his profession. Friends, as mentioned, Dr. Andrew Manson, a young doctor just coming out of the university, planning up his career, is encountered with a unpragmatic condition that usually doctors do not encounter today. The story revolves around Andrew getting out of the university, trying to go ahead with a good job. One fine evening, late at night, after a quarrel with his girlfriend Christine, walking home, thinking about the things that he has done in life and the turmoils that are happening, he actually is interrupted by Joe Morgan, a neighbor who knew that Andrew was a doctor. Whilst Morgan requested Andrew to assist his wife, who was actually going ahead and giving birth to their first child after much effort. Andrew, although being a doctor, thought for a while that it was too late, yet he took up the task. On entering the room, my friends, he sees Mrs. Morgan in a pretty bad shape, almost exhausted, the child still in the process, crowning and everything, and Mrs. Morgan really finding it hard to deliver the baby. During the whole process, Andrew starts thinking about the joys and the pains and everything that he is undergoing, and his friends too are undergoing. Living a happy life, getting married, not satisfied, somebody not getting married, still not satisfied, about such things, when he was brought to the conscience of the situation by Morgan, who actually requested him to assist the lady. There was this nanny as well, a midwife, assisting Mrs. Morgan during the birth. Finally, Mrs. Morgan gave birth to a child, a well-formed baby boy, but incidentally lost her consciousness. On the same hand, the baby wasn't breathing. He wasn't having a heartbeat at all. Thus, a young doctor, Andrew, actually had a fix. He was tied up in a condition where he actually was bound up to check out two people at an instance. That is the baby who wasn't breathing and the mother who went unconscious. Thus he gave the baby to the midwife and kept on working on Mrs. Morgan, who actually gained consciousness and regained the heartbeat and the breathing after much effort. When inquired about the baby, Andrew came to know that it was a stillbirth. My friends, a stillbirth is a baby who's actually born dead. That was a shock to our doctor. Much effort had he given, lest he had not assured the proper delivery. Had he been accepting the fact, yet he did not. He inquired about the baby, which was actually dumped with the old newspapers below the bed by the midwife, believing him to be a stillbirth. Andrew, full of enigma and grief, asked her to bring the baby. On inspecting the baby, he found him to be a perfect lad, a full-grown lad, without any deformities, a bluish-white body just due to the lack of blood. On the very first instance, our doctor knew that this is a case of aphylaxia. Aphylaxia is a process where the proper oxygen is not reaching the heart and the brain, thus giving a bluish hue to a body. A common phase that actually kids encounter during the birth. Andrew did not lose hope. He kept on patting the baby, beating him, thumping him, trying to give him the breathe that he required. The nurse or the midwife actually going ahead and requesting him of the baby being a stillbirth and losing the hope and giving up and everything all there. Yet our doctor does go ahead and tries hard, and at the final brink the baby starts breathing. The poor little thing actually shivers, moves, turns in his arms, and the sight of that is overwhelming for Andrew. The only words that uttered out of him was, "I've done something. God, I've really done something." Now these were the words that Andrew actually went ahead and spoke while getting out of the room and speaking to Mr. Morgan and explaining him what just had happened. This is a story about ethics, a story about the bookish knowledge, a story about one's own perceptions. Had Andrew gone ahead and encountered the bookish knowledge, they had discarded the stillbirth. Yet his perception of regaining the baby and giving him a life thrived him to go ahead and put in the effort that was required at the moment, yet bringing the baby back to his life. It's a real good story about effort, not losing hope, finding solace. Had he lost his hope, the baby would have been dumped, gone. The mother would have been shattered. The dad waiting outside would have been broken. Yet this doctor went ahead and did his job perfectly. I'll discuss a few question and answers now. Question number 1 is, I've done something. Oh God, I've done something real at last. Why does Andrew say this, and what does it mean? Andrew utters these words as he's able to bring a stillbirth back to life. Friends, this is the biggest gift a doctor could have gone ahead and given to anybody. He would have gone ahead and forgotten the baby as a stillbirth and walked out, yet saving the mother for the next return. No, he did not do that. He went ahead and put all his effort into the baby, gave his best, hoped for the best, and the results were best. Thus, the protagonist of the story, that is Andrew, actually goes ahead and utters the word. There lies a great difference between textbook medicine and the world of practicing physicians. Yes, there is a huge difference between the world of textbook medicines and the practicing physicians. The textbook that usually the students of the medical science read are the books based on experiences and prints. Years have passed, the books have remained the same, the explanations have remained the same, yet in the world of the physical handling, the doctors today encounter numerous conditions, situations that are actually far more opposite, different than the things printed in the textbooks. The doctors day to day encounter new viruses. The doctor day to day encounter new type of surgical procedures. The doctors day to day encounter conditions that aren't mentioned in the books either, ever. Thus the world of practical medical and the written medical is totally different. Some of you must be having some medical legal people in your vicinities. You can definitely talk to them, speak to them about certain conditions involved. And trust me, it would be hence said clearly, as mentioned in the question, that the things are totally apart in both the realms. The story actually goes ahead and explains the effort, the belief, and the passion a young doctor actually goes ahead and has in him. He doesn't really go by the textbook knowledge, rather he gives chance to his instincts that are quite important. he looks forward to check out the baby and gives all his effort after saving the mother in the baby. If you have gone through this chapter, I would suggest you to comment below. If you want to know something about us, you can definitely press the button about us. You can get the data online or in pen drive, or you can contact me as well. Thank you very much, friends.